Now it's my privilege. I am absolutely thrilled and deeply touched that Winn Claybaugh, when he heard about our event, jumped at the opportunity to be here and support us tonight. He, of course, waived his speaking fee because I told him we had this much of a budget. And even paid for all of his own traveling expenses, and we really appreciate that.
Winn Claybaugh is the author of Be Nice or Else, you saw the book that we have there, and is a nationally known motivational speaker, speaks to a number of major corporations in our country. CNN's Larry King, who wrote the foreword in his book, says Winn is one of the best motivational speakers in the country. Winn is also the dean of Paul Mitchell Schools. His schools have raised over $6 million in the past 8 years for various, a variety of charitable organizations, including Children's Miracle Network Hospital, Food for Africa, Habitat for Humanity, Dolly Parton's Imaginary Library, City of Hope. And from Southern Utah, welcome to Winn Claybaugh.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, there's no light up here. Okay. First of all, I feel kind of lucky to be sitting there at that table with kind of superstars, Gary and Millie, Steve and Linda. Linda hasn't stopped crying since the night began. Yeah, I do a lot of seminars, but I have to tell you, I'm also very nervous to be here. In fact, according to the Book of Lists, the #1 fear is public speaking. Did you know that? Yeah, well, the #2 fear is death by fire, so you can imagine how I feel right now. So I was out there for a couple of years talking to people about this book that I wanted to write. Patiently waiting for this delayed flight, except for this one man who for some reason was really upset over this delayed flight, and he was abusing the poor ticketing agent who obviously had no control over why this flight was delayed, but he was loud and mean and aggressive to this poor woman. And so my friend CW comes up to this abusive man and he says, excuse me, sir, but can I have your autograph? And the abusive man stepped back and he said, why do you want my autograph? And CW said, because I've never met the center of the universe before. How many can't wait to use that sometime? Is there any way I could, is there some kind of a light that I could get up here? Well, that... Okay.
Hey, Gary.
Oh, wow.
Good job, Gary.
He does come in handy. To be here at this event, any time that there's an opportunity where we get to praise and acknowledge people, I think is an absolutely an amazing experience for all of us. Because I believe that praise is a basic human need. I think it's right up there with oxygen. And, we all know that we have permission to praise and encourage little kids. Like I've seen my niece sending her little kids off to school. And so, of course, as they're walking out the door, you're all good. As they're walking out the door, of course, she's praising them. She's acknowledging them. She's saying things to them like, oh, honey, you look so cute today. You're going to have so much fun at school. You're going to make some new friends. You're going to do really good on your assignments. Then she turns to her husband, bye, see ya. What about him? I mean, do we ever arrive at a point in life where we no longer need that praise, that encouragement? I don't believe so. Now, can you imagine if she turned to him and said, honey, your ass in that suit looks so hot? So, I'm getting a little sexual harassment up here. That's good. I need a little bit. Okay, so I actually started my company, Paul Mitchell Schools. I actually started in Provo, Utah, 28 years ago. Today we have over 100 schools. We have 14,000 students whom we call future professionals who attend our schools. And so you can imagine, the stuff that we address here today, you better believe it's stuff that we address every single day within our schools. When I was in business for 2 years in Provo, I had a salon as well. And there was a woman who worked for me during those first 2 years who one day she privately pulled me aside and she said, "Winn, I want you to know that for the last 20 years, I have been in a very abusive marriage, but because of working here for the last 2 years, I now have the courage to divorce this man." And I was like, huh? Winn, I've been in this horrible marriage, but for the last 2 years, for the first time in my life, when I come to work every single day, I feel loved, I feel valued, I feel safe, and because of that, I now have the courage to divorce this man. Let me say something. That was a huge wake-up call for me, because up until that point, I thought that my only role, my only responsibility as a business owner, as a leader, was to create a place where people come to earn a paycheck. And what that taught me way back then was that my responsibility goes much deeper, and that all of us have that responsibility, as well as we have the power, we have the influence to create safe places for people. And that has become a theme throughout my life. It has become a theme in the company, and I have to tell you that mine is not really a political path. I'm not an activist. I've never marched or picketed outside of a church. I'm grateful for the political work that's done by people like Brandy, Claudia, Chris, Linda, and Steve, Tika, and others. I mean, we all do what we can do. We all have different gifts and we all have different talents from a place of love. To continue on with my story, my parents and my family did not understand my gay feelings, but that didn't matter. I didn't understand my gay feelings either. They did not join PFLAG. My siblings are not marching in parades, although I'm grateful for those who do. In other words, they did not have to embrace my gay lifestyle in order to embrace me. What did they do? They gave me hope. They knew what I needed. Unconditional safety, unconditional hope, and unconditional love. They love me, they love my partner George, and they celebrate the life we have together as a monogamous, healthy couple. And here's where it all became interesting and life-changing for me. I eventually realized that I don't have to prove you to be wrong in order to make myself be right. I don't have to abandon my beliefs and lifestyle in order to embrace yours. Have you sometimes noticed that we'd rather be right than to build a bridge and be happy? I actually have a t-shirt that says, build a bridge and get over it. So I like your theme. We'd rather prove our point and stand firm on our belief than to show our love and support. Even though my gay lifestyle may or may not fit into their religious or political belief system, they make my lifestyle a non-issue. Could they disagree with certain parts of my lifestyle? Absolutely, but so too could I disagree with their lifestyle. There might be many points religiously and politically of how they live their lives and raise their kids that I don't agree with, but that does not matter, because in my family it's a non-issue. If what we are looking to achieve is tolerance, well, then the opposite of tolerance is intolerance or self-righteousness. To love and accept others, we do not have to adopt their ideas. My beautiful brother Denny calls it TLC, which he has changed to tolerance, love, and compassion. His religious brother, he said, we have no idea of the internal struggles that individuals experience as they grow and develop into the adult person. It is way too complicated for me to discern why people are the way they are, so I must practice TLC, tolerance, love, and compassion. One of my mantras in life is no regrets. I want to live a life with no regrets. Now, many years ago, I had a lot of regrets. And one of the regrets that I had was that I didn't have a relationship with my father. And many years ago, as I had done before, I was complaining to a friend of mine about that, you know, for us, and who are bringing so much hope to a community that absolutely desperately needs it. One of my very good mentors is Og Mandino, and he was speaking in San Diego. This was years ago. He has since passed away. This beautiful man, and there's 1,000 people there, and he asked, anybody have any questions? And so, of course, my hand shoots up, and he calls on me. So I stand up in front of all these people. They pass the microphone to me, and I asked them the question. I say, you know, if you just had one piece of advice that would help people live a happier, more productive life, what would that one piece of advice be? And he thought for a minute, and then he said, just imagine that every person you come into contact with is wearing a little label that says, make me feel important. While political and policy changes can sometimes take years and even sometimes decades, the one change that can take place today, right now, is the love, support, and safety that only a family can provide to their son, their daughter, their brother, their sister. In fact, even if and when government laws change and mandate true equal rights, the government will never be able to mandate and bring into law that a parent loves unconditionally their gay son or daughter. But we, as loving, inspired human beings, can make that choice to do so. And we can certainly encourage others to do the same. To wrap things up, so I bring all of our school leaders together in the company, because I feel like if it doesn't start at the top, there's no way that it's going to trickle down. And all the things that you're about, absolutely, we address all of these. Again, with 14,000 students attending our schools, we deal with suicide on a weekly basis. We deal with kids who cut. We deal with every issue imaginable. And so we want to train and educate our students, or educate our leaders about all the different circumstances that might exist. And we always bring in wonderful speakers. A couple of years ago, brought in this great speaker by the name of Sister Bonnie. She's a Catholic nun who many years ago decided that she wanted to become a hairdresser so that she could do hair for the homeless. So get this, she gets permission from the Catholic Church to enroll in beauty school. Graduates and opens up her salon, which she named the Pearly Gates Salon. It was located in a tiny bathroom of a shower facility for the homeless in downtown Cincinnati. I flew out there and spent a couple of days with Sister Bonnie. And she showed me this little tiny bathroom where she cut hair for 7 years, and she did 10,000 homeless people in those first 7 years. And she said to me, Winn, I am the only Catholic nun that can say, I've been in the bathroom with 10,000 men, and they all came out smiling. And then she said, my clients happen to be homeless, so of course they don't pay me anything for my services. Maybe your clients are paying you $10 or $1,000, but they're homeless on the inside. And hearing her story reminded me of an experiment that I read about that happened in the early 1900s in an orphanage, where they divided the infants into two different groups. The first group of infants, they fed them and clothed them, and that was it. The second group of infants, they fed them, clothed them, touched them, cradled them, and they tried to reverse the process, and in many cases it was too late, that some of the infants in the first group actually turned their face to the wall and died of a disease called marasma. All marasma means is a lack of touch. people can actually die from that. So the work that we do, the work that you do, that I'm just so honored to be a spectator, to be a witness here this evening, is so important because you touch people on so many different levels. Never underestimate the power of what it is that we can all do. Thanks, everybody.